Wheel of SNES, Josh, episode 35, season 3, episode 5. We're halfway through the freaking third season, brother.
Yeah, we are. We're doing pretty good.
And of course, I don't ever tell it, in case you didn't know, we spin a randomizer wheel, which chooses the game that we get to play every week. So everybody can play cool freaking games all the time in their reviews. We play some really bad games with the sprinkle with an occasional good game and some mediocres at best. So
some surprises.
Yeah, some surprises. And there's been some games like even this season, Pieces. That's a game I'm glad I played. I've never heard of it. I would never play that before. And the randomizer wheel did us good. So this week we got Ms. Pac-Man. So,
is this before she marries Pac-Man?
Okay. There's a whole thing.
I know there's a whole thing. I figured there was.
Ironically, I found this going through some old stuff, Josh. And so I guess this was meant to be. This has got to be like some hand-painted acrylic. I don't even know what it is. But I found that. I had it in my truck. I had to go get it before this episode. And what I pulled out is it looks like a hand-painted craft of Pac-Man. I'm guessing that's a cherry that he's eating. It really looks like a red super pellet.
Yeah, it does look like a red super pellet. But yeah, it looks like it's
that thing may be older than me. I sure as hell know it's older than you.
Yeah. It's some type of pin, but it doesn't have a needle to stab through something, so it's a clasp pin.
Yeah, it's a kind of. I'm thinking maybe it's something that might clasp on like a tie or something like that.
A tie clip.
Of course, hard hitting podcasting here, talking about something you can't see, but it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of goofy looking, but it there's no doubt it's Pac-Man. This was in some of my parents' stuff. I have no idea why the hell this was there. They ain't never played. I ain't gonna say they ain't played Pac-Man, but. They're not video gamers, but I did find that very odd.
That's odd and interesting.
So, I'm going to put that on the shelf in there in the keepers.
Yeah.
So
it's like last week with the Power Rangers. We recorded during a Power Rangers week, apparently.
Right. Completely unplanned. Let's not say we got foresight.
Absolutely not.
So this ain't Mr. Pac-Man. This is freaking Ms. Pac-Man. Give me that bow, bitches.
Get that bow.
You want me to read? I mean, I don't really know what to say about Pac-Man. It's been around so long. But here's what the back of the box says.
If you've gone to an arcade at any point in life, whenever they were still around, there was guaranteed to be a form of Pac-Man there.
And as we go through here, we know we're talking about Ms. Pac-Man. I'm sure I'll say Pac-Man 100 times. It's the same to me. It's not, but overlook that. Okay. The back of the box for the Super Nintendo says... a lot bigger. These first sentence is a lot more bold writing.
Okay.
36 wild and crazy mazes for more fun than ever, with an exclamation point. Ms. Pac-Man has 36 ways to drive you totally wild and crazy with more than you've ever imagined. She gets to run around in 36 unique, mind-boggling mazes. Some small ones, some so big you'll have to scroll around. Some that are mighty strange and some that are straight out of the arcades. Whether you choose easy, normal, hard, or crazy speeds, Ms. Pac-Man will have you running ragged. There's even a pack booster button that really lets her shake those pesky ghosts. Play Ms. Pac-Man by yourself or take turns with a friend. Better yet, two can play at the same time. One as the divine Ms. Pac-Man and the other as original Pac-Man.
Doesn't even call him Mr. Pac-Man.
They call him the original Pac-Man.
The OG.
The OG. So, I'm going to be in full transparency. Google Pac-Man and see how much shit comes up.
There's a ton of stuff.
Oh, yeah. It is like a cubic ton. So,
there's a metric fuck ton of Pac-Man stuff out there.
I mean, there's a lot with like Power Rangers last week. And so I can save some of that. But Pac-Man, like I say, that is probably older than... I think it was... hard-hitting analysis here. I think it was maybe 82. I was born in 81. So, like, the thing is old as dirt.
I said, was Pac-Man 81?
I think it is.
I thought it was a little sooner.
So, I think it was 82 is what it was. So, there's three names. There's a lot of names that go on this. And so, it basically...
80.
80.
80 in Japan.
So... according to this game, I've seen dates on here between 93 and 90, or 92 and 94. it's a Pac-Man game.
Yeah.
I don't really think the release date. This was. I know there's like 3 or 4 Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man games for the Super Nintendo. I'm not sure where this falls in it, but it's freaking Pac-Man. The release date on this, I didn't feel like sifting through 36 different releases of every port, so it came out in the 90s, early 90s.
Because, I mean, this, I don't want to downplay it, but this is a type of game that I bet you could churn out really quick, because there's not much to it.
So, according to the cart, as we're playing it, it says it's developed by Digital Eclipse Software, and then it advertised Williams, which is basically a pinball company.
Yeah.
Arcade. I'd say pinball's probably unfair. It's probably like
arcade.
A cabinet.
Yeah,
company,
cabinet,
basically.
arcade cabinet.
And also Namco, that's the company that either one of the originals. That's why it's in almost every Namco classics collection from freaking Nintendo 64 and PlayStation to nowadays. I can almost guarantee that I think I know the Switch has a Pac-Man game on it. I bet the PS5 and the Xbox One
if we
has
look
a
at
Pac-Man game.
Yeah, if we look for
so there's going to be a lot of names on there. So I'm not really going to go off too much in my opinion. I feel like Namco is kind of like the main ones if you want to talk about who's made the game.
Namco's also released a lot of bangers too.
Oh yeah, like when I think of them, I'm thinking a lot of these Atari games that were bangers or like super early games. So I guess I'm just going to try to explain, because I feel like it's very underwhelming, my explanation of what Pac-Man is. I think it's an arcade game.
Yeah, 100%.
To me, that is an arcade
game. That's a classic arcade.
And so in this game, is what I've put, is it's an arcade game where you must navigate Miss Pac-Man through a maze, eating pellets and avoiding ghosts. During the gameplay, you can eat a power pellet that can, relate with you being able to eat the ghost, and fruit magically appears from time to time. So you're basically trying to clear all the pellets to end a level.
Yep.
To me, it's an arcade maze game. That is pretty much it.
And not get attacked by ghosts.
Yes, and that sounds like super simplified.
But that's what it is.
And it's like, I know in these other games we're trying to say, hey, there's like some platforming aspects. This game does have a loose story to it in the intermissions, but you can't really talk about much on the controls. I mean, there is some controls, but it's basically left, right, up, down.
Yeah.
They do mention a pack booster that we'll go into a little bit later.
I think that was the first time that was ever brought in, too.
And you could do it to where it was always on, or you held a button, so technically you could use a button, but essentially you could just add a joystick. I remember playing it on a freaking Atari. That's probably the first time in the arcade games. It was always just a stick. And that's it. No buttons, just a stick.
I remember playing on the actual arcade cabinet. Was the first time I played a Pac-Man game.
I'm going to tell you, I'm saving it. Because this is, to me, a Pac-Man game. I'm going to save it for a little bit later into here. And I bet you, I don't know if it's before your time, if you remember what I've played it on, and it was the shit. But, so basically, this is I was also going to look up and see how many times Pac-Man had been ported in some sort. Ms. Pac-Man had been ported, and it was freaking outrageous. When you go to price charting, oh my God, I didn't want to count it. I think from what I've seen that they had expected it. Just Ms. Pac-Man had been ported over 70 times to different systems and operating systems.
I believe it.
And that's that.
Hell, if I'm not mistaken, I think Pac-Man himself has been ported into Smash Brothers now.
Well, I'm going to tell you, my favorite Pac-Man, I like Pac-Man in that Pixels movie.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. But my favorite Pac-Man reference of all time is the Bloodhound Gang's Mope video.
Yeah.
If you've not watched that one, or you've never watched a Bloodhound Gang video, there's other videos I think that are better, that are actually, they're pretty backwoods. I ain't gonna say they're backwoods, but they definitely play to a demographic. But I think they're incredibly smart, and they they mask their intelligence with some of these goofy songs.
Yeah.
But they have Mope that has Pac-Man in it doing psychedelics, I believe. But
it's solid. I remember it was solid.
I bet if you mentioned for, I don't know, maybe, definitely if I said, hey, mention classic arcade cabinets, I think Pac-Man would probably be in the top 2 you'd pick. If I said, hey, mention mention original characters or iconic video game characters, I feel like Pac-Man would at least be in the top 10 if I just said name them. I know me and you were going to say, Mario, Mega Man, we're going to hit some of the big ones, Sonic, but I think Pac-Man is one of the he's up there on the pedestal. He's in probably a tier A,
Yeah, he's up there in the top 10, I would say so. I wouldn't say for me he would be in the top 2 arcade cabinets, because for me, I
just think off memory. If I said, hey, mention an arcade cabinet.
If I mention an arcade cabinet, then yeah, he's definitely in there. But my first one is always going to be Tekken, because that's the first place I ever played a Tekken game, was in an arcade cabinet. Followed by, what was it? NFL Blitz, I think, was an arcade cabinet, or Gauntlet. I think Gauntlet was
one. I mean, they're both arcade cabinets. I think Gauntlet was way before Blitz, obviously.
Yeah. So I remember doing Tekken, Gauntlet, and then I would probably say Pac-Man, followed by the virtual cop shooter one.
Okay. Do you think is there anything you want to add about the build-up of Miss Pac-Man? Or you want to jump straight and just make it some break?
Dude.
I feel like with Pac-Man, this is a very vanilla episode, but I've got bold takes on Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man.
Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man both like the same thing. Okay? They just munching balls. That's all they doing. Munching balls, and every now and then you hit a ghost.
Well, there's that. The Pac-Man also does have a very grotesque Cards Against Humanity one in there as well. So, all right, we're just going to go ahead and jump into Make It, Josh. I do have, once again, I've cherry-picked some pieces here and there. When we get down to some speed runs, when we get down to...
no, I don't...
I'm just going to go ahead and give you the entice you on speed runs. A lot of these speed runs were set within the past year, some of them within the past 2 months.
Yeah, I bet.
And there are speed runs that me and you could complete
and
be number 1 on. So that is we are going
fastest to die, done.
No, I'm telling you, there are, if you want to get your name on the speed run, folks, if you're wanting, this is a game to play right here. So
fastest to die, done.
So we're going to jump on in to Make It, and I guess it's a Pac-Man game. You're getting exactly what you expect. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I guess I'd really say the familiarity of the game is kind of a Make It, because if you played the original arcade cabinet and then the next video game system you ever owned or you played was a Super Nintendo and it was Miss Pac-Man, it is your freaking Pac-Man game. You ain't gonna say, how do I play this?
Nope.
It's freaking Pac-Man.
You're going around munching balls.
Yeah, there's plenty of balls to be munching on, to gobble on. One thing that is, and we didn't get to experiment this.
The 2-player aspect?
You got 2-player. Yeah. And even though
that would have been interesting to do.
And this is one of those games, like, I'd say, hey, this is kind of like, really only one player plays at a time. You can do it the alternating. But at the same time, it's like, do you really need that? You can always just hand the controller back and forth. But I can see this is a game where points do matter. And I will say, this is a game that I feel like without points,
it's pointless.
And that's another great thing. And this is probably, I go ahead and hit one of the best things about it is your replayability is, you can compete against yourself. Because, if you're the only one at your house, you're the only child, and you had this game, you might not have the enjoyment of getting to, like how I play. We didn't play this co-op or anything, but I could always say, if we came in here, like I could see, if we had the foresight last week saying, let's see who can get the high score when we come back, Josh.
Yeah.
Like, the score is going to matter. There is definitely bragging rights with that. And there's so many games that I know you're down with the score and I'm not. This is a game that is driven by score.
Yeah, it 100% is. And that's the whole aspect of Pac-Man, I think. Who wants to be number 1 at the arcade cabinet? You want your initials up there. Which, granted, a lot of the initials were ass, literally, ASS. That's what a lot of people put on there.
Yeah, and You're correct. And, it would be kind of funny. It would be kind of wild. Like, how Golden Tee is, how it connects to, like, your region and stuff.
Yeah.
Just think if back in the day, like, say Pac-Man came out now, and you had, like, regional scores.
Yeah.
I feel like that would just be freaking insane, because I bet there are some ridiculous, it's like the King of Kong thing. There's some dudes that are probably like Pac-Man is the GOAT.
That's their life.
Yes.
They eat, breathe, and sleep.
So, and this is one thing. This is a game. Even by the time the Super Nintendos came out, like this thing came out, with Game Gear. It was obviously out on Genesis. This was the stuff that's with it. Hey, I know there's at least 2 Pac-Man games, regular Pac-Man games for NES, and there's a Miss Pac-Man, because you got the Tengen, and then you got this. It's been released on Commodore 64. I played it first. The first time I ever played it was on Atari. So, like, by the time we even got to the Super Nintendo, there was probably already, 15, 20 ports before then.
Yeah, I about guarantee you it was probably on MS-DOS as well.
So, kind of like Tetris. Tetris is selling you the same game over and over, and I'm a huge Tetris fan. But you make a couple subtle changes, and even though it's the same familiar game, you're adding an option or a twist. So, one of the things I'll say is you're playing the same game that you've played before, but you've got plenty of options. I do appreciate, like, a Tetris, it kind of is an option. Like, when you want to play that game, that's kind of how it is, whether it be Tetris Sphere, Tetris Attack. But this one, it lets you, I think we played one on a network one time in college. It was Tetris Bomb. Oh, that was the funnest Tetris game ever. It was like a 6-player game, and you're dropping Tetris bombs on.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the best. Better than the original Tetris, I'm just going to say. And I love original Tetris. But you're playing a game that's been remade, at this point, at least 100 times. So they give you options to make it your own. So some of the options they'll give you, and this is one thing, the options did matter in this, is because you picked your game difficulty. You had easy, medium, hard. I think it was crazy. Or insane.
It's crazy.
And
because I clicked on it once.
And it's really to do with the speed. And you'd say, it's the speed of Pac-Man. No, it's
everything.
Yeah, the speed of the Ghost, the Pac-Man.
I will say, crazy is fucking ridiculous.
You can pick your maze selection. You can pick arcade, classic, insane, random, I think.
Yeah.
You pick your starting level. I did notice, though, that I wanted to see how far I could go on one line.
Oh, same here.
The farthest I could get, and this was just with me, and I mean, I was putting it in. I wasn't grinding and just like reset, going back. Like, I was enjoying myself and playing it, and I got to level 7 before I had to game over.
I was
like, I want to go, because another thing that I've got here is there's more stages than you would think. There's 36 stages.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I got to like number 7, and I was hustling, and I want to go play 36. It would not let me go to level 36. My guess is because I had not completed my way up.
Got there.
So,
see, I made it to level 5, and I'm not going to use this as a break it. Because the only reason why I got to level 5, it was really hard to play this on an emulator.
Okay.
Like, my controls felt laggy, they felt really clunky, but I'm not chalking that up because that's my emulator. I know 100% that was the emulator. So.
Well, I've only got just a few more things. They kind of put a story into the game, which is kind of weird, but I guess why not?
You don't want to follow the story of a little yellow puck with a mouth and a bow?
No, I don't.
You sure?
Yes, I do. Now, I will say some of the Pac-Man adventure games I kind of like. They're really kind of bad too, but like it's a different, it's an original game. I like an original game. This was not an original game.
The only Pac-Man adventure game I remember was the one that came out on the GameCube.
Well, yeah, I think it's Pac-Man Adventures 2 or something. Like
that.
But so my exact quote was, the story into the game is somewhat cool by putting it into acts. So it basically puts like they meet, and and it's just kind of goofy stuff.
It is.
And so I guess, I mean, to me it really was nothing to me. But you're selling me the same game I've probably already bought at this point. I know I've played it, had it. I probably own 6 copies of it for freaking Atari. So I appreciate you at least attempting to give me something
a little more
different.
Yeah, a little more.
Even though to me it really didn't matter. I had zero interest in the story.
It was all about the maze.
I feel like you feel like, and this is one thing that's different because some of the arcade games you can play on forever and ever. That's the whole quarter grab. Yeah. That's why I knew. I was like, I'm wondering how far I can make it. And I was impressed I made it to level 7 because the whole thing is put a quarter in, keep playing, you know. So, but, you know.
It's all about that maze and munching balls.
That's it. The one thing that I think I was. Now, the co-op thing was nice. But some of the stuff that we've had issues with these Super Nintendo games is some of them, the play is slow. And I will tell you, Pac-Man is kind of a slow game too, unless you crank it up to insane. I just played it as it was, probably on easy or normal. But they had the Pac Booster.
Yeah.
And the Pac Booster was a freaking game changer. I don't know if I was a better Pac-Man player with Pac Booster or without it. But did you play with it on?
I played with it on.
You can pick whether A or B controlled it or it's always on. Basically, Miss Pac-Man is on crack, and she is screaming across there. Now, it's not like it's unfair, like the ghost can't catch you or trap you, but it's almost like a power boost. I just turned mine as always on.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, when you talk about the controls on the emulator, the controls did kind of suck in Pac-Man boost mode, but at the same time, I don't think you're kind of probably designed to run complete boost mode. So when I missed a precise turn, I wasn't bitching too much because Miss Pac-Man's getting it. That's what she's doing. She's just gobbling them balls, you know.
I've done it with both because I want to give every game the college try. So I done it with a button. I done it always on. I done it without the Pac Booster just to see what would happen.
I don't think I wanted to play this game without the Pac Booster.
No, absolutely.
And I don't want to have to even hit the button, even though I could appreciate probably boosting like short distances. I'm like,
it would work for turns. It would work for turns, and that's what it did. But playing this game without the Pac Booster, it was very slow, very mediocre, very just okay, cool, do all this stuff. But with it on, like I said, it was a game changer. But with it always on. Said those fine turns had to be pixel perfect, or you wasn't hitting that corner that you needed. But with you being able to toggle it, I thought I liked to toggle a lot more because you could turn a little bit better with it.
So, do you have anything else for Make It, Josh?
I'm still a huge advocate for. I always love this in Pac-Man. Your sides.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that there's certain areas that you can go to and it pops you out on the other side.
Right.
I've always been a huge fan of that. Just because that could be I could see if you were playing this competitively. If you were wanting that speed run, if you were wanting that record, those are a necessity.
And I guess I'm going to put it in the purgatory of not make it or break it.
The gray zone?
Yeah, in the gray zone of the game did have, you could choose between small maps and big maps. I forget why they were, monster maps, huge maps.
Yeah.
But basically it scrolled. So, I mean, there was player options there, and I do appreciate that. But at the same time, part of what, kind of chaps my ass is you're selling me the same game, and just because it goes and goes up and down like 2 screens, it seems like you're selling me in a whole, I mean, in today's game, I don't know what this game retailed when it came out. It's probably $29, $39. I don't know what a Super Nintendo game was back in the day. I don't have that remembrance.
Yeah.
Maybe it was $49. But if I bought a damn game that was a remake, like if I bought this Pac-Man game at $59.99 for a PS5 and that was all it was, I'd be pissed.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So I do appreciate they gave it. So, but it kind of pissed me off more than it helped.
Yeah.
So I was going to jump into break it then.
Yeah, go.
Dad, I don't want to discount the make it part. It's Pac-Man. It's Miss Pac-Man. If you love the Pac-Man games, you're going to love it. But everybody knows what it is. It's kind of hard to say, oh my God, there's ghosts. That makes it. No, that's just Pac-Man. At this point.
That's Pac-Man.
What do you say in Japan? It was in 1980. I think it was 82 that it was here. By the time this game was released, it was probably 14, 15 years. So everybody knew what Pac-Man is. Just because it's a cute little pack thing, I'm not putting that as a make it. That's expected at this point.
I don't know.
It's 15 years. You give me new stuff, and that's why. Like, I don't want to discount and say this. Yeah. I don't want to say, oh, they don't have nothing good to say about it. No, it's everything that's good with Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, just this stuff.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is true or not, but it just dawned on me. If you watch that shit movie, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
That is a shit movie. I do not know why people love that movie.
I don't either.
Mediocre at best.
Yeah.
On a good day when I'm in the mood to watch it.
Yeah. But he has the whole fun fact about it, that apparently Pac-Man wasn't Pac-Man, he was Puck-Man.
Yes, that is correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct. And I think they were originally trying to make Miss Puck-Man, but, and I think that had to do with the Japanese translation of whatever.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was 100% true or not, but that just dawned on me. I don't know why that movie popped in my head, because I despise Michael Cera, but...
But when we get into some of the fun facts, there is stuff about how Miss Pac-Man was named.
Okay, I'm excited for that.
So to break it, the first part is, hey, okay, it's an arcade game. You're trying to put a little story with it. That's cool. You give me a startup screen, and it was kind of goofy. It had Miss Pac-Man there holding a power pellet by these ghosts. The ghosts didn't look like, you had the color, like the general idea.
They weren't ghosts.
You know what? It reminded me of the damn Mario's Time Machine, Koopas. Like, Miss Pac-Man kind of looked cool. Like it was weird though. The animation was off, and I'm like, you know what? Just give me Pac-Man at that point, or Miss Pac-Man. Okay, I'm working my way into a frenzy here.
Working my way, okay.
Working my way downtown.
So the way I look at it, because I just Googled Miss Pac-Man, I'm looking at the opening screen because I don't remember it from memory. These ghosts look absolutely fucking terrifying.
And I will bet that what they did was they're like, oh, look at these X-bit graphics. What was Super Nintendo 32, 16, whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to say, let's see what we can do. This is our time to showcase. Yeah, I didn't care nothing. I cared less about that startup screen. It pissed me off more than the story did.
Yeah.
And, but, okay.
And why is there only 3 ghosts? Where's the 4th? Did she already eat it?
Well, okay. Well, there's ghost trivia coming in here too, Josh. I'm getting myself worked up. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the first part out here that probably pissed some people off before I get to the other thing that pisses people off. The music and the sound effects suck in this game. Pac-Man music and sound effects sucks.
In all Pac-Man games.
Yes.
I personally agree. I think all of them are terrible.
It is annoying as fuck.
Yeah.
It's annoying in an arcade.
Waka 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 waka.
Yeah,
waka, waka.
I can almost say I can get down almost with the startup music. I don't even like the startup music.
No.
And I'm like turning this down because I'm not doing it because Allie's in the other room working, about to yell at me like she does on these other games. But I'm like, I can't stand this. I'll make the exception is when you eat a power pellet. I do like that.
Cool sound effect.
This game has too much sound.
Yeah.
And I know this is solely with it being an arcade game. I bet anything to get someone's attention to come to that arcade was what they were doing.
Yeah.
I hate the fucking sound. I don't like the sound effects. I don't like the music. Mute this shit. Pac-Man, you suck as far as music.
Let's say, even the sound of you eating a fruit, eating a ghost, doesn't sound good. You eating a power pellet is awesome. The sound that you make whenever you die, is okay. The stage completion sound is terrible.
Okay, I'm going to come into one arcade thing, and you just got me into something else that's probably going to be something that nobody else agrees on.
Which I see you topping right now. You adding it to the list.
The first thing I did put is there's not enough lives. Of course.
There's 3.
Yeah, and I know you can acquire them by points, but
or quarter.
Yes, that's why I'm like I put that there with kind of an asterisk because it's probably pretty damn smart, to be honest. And the game is forgiving, and it will let you start at the level you last completed. So that's very minor.
Yeah.
But okay, most overrated mechanic, maybe. And I got in a video game. The fuck is up with the fruit? Why is fruit so important in Pac-Man?
Because fruit is life.
It does not give... You know what I give 2 shits about? Not no damn cherries. Not no damn oranges. Eating damn goblin balls and power balls. And you know what? Yeah, I'm not one time. Not even for a fucking pretzel am I going across the map trying to catch it. If it happens, it happens. But I'm like, this fruit grab is so goofy. It's just a point grab, and I give zero fucks about it.
Would you rather have fruit or vegetables?
If it ain't a power pellet, I don't give a fuck about it. Like, this is an unnecessary part of the game. It's window dressing that doesn't matter to me.
100% it is. But again, this game was designed, I have to defend it. This game was designed for overall points. If you wanted to be the highest scorer, you had to grab the fruit and the one pretzel.
Maybe you and then just throwing this out there, instead of continuing to incorporate fruit, maybe 15 years after this release, you actually put some new damn game mechanics in a fucking Pac-Man game and give you more points.
What do you want?
I don't know,
shoot
but
lasers?
I feel like as much port as Pac-Man gets, that they would say, oh my god, instead of a pretzel and an orange, we're introducing cotton candy. Let's release a new fucking game. That's how I feel like Pac-Man is. And there's nothing different other than fucking cotton candy. It's, this is it. This is my big thing. And I've got more mountains to stand on. I appreciate an original game. I don't care if the original game sucks. I give a tip of the hat. It's kind of like a sports game.
They tried.
This is not an original game. This is 15 years old. They're still making this fucking game. Like, don't get me wrong. I've played my share of Pac-Man. It is not the worst game I've ever played. But stop selling me the same shit. That's why I like Pac-Man and Pixels. Pac-Man and this is stuff I've never seen Pac-Man do.
Pac-Man
look at
Adventure.
this. What is Pac-Man doing? Eating damn fruit in this little pen. That's all he ever does is eat power pellets and fruit. It gets fucking boring. It's the same shit from 1980, you know.
And that's one of the reasons why I actually enjoy Pac-Man Adventures, too.
It's different.
It's different.
There's a Pac-Man puzzle game, kind of like, on the lines of like a Tetris-type game. I've never played it. Very excited about it,
Oh, is it on the SNES?
Yeah, I think it's called like Pack Attack or something like that. But you know what? I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Even if it is 10 times worse than this game, it's different.
They tried.
I mean, we're just talking Super Nintendo in the 90s of how much this has already been remade. I'm losing my damn mind. I bet if I go on the freaking Play Store right now, there's 36 different Pac-Mans. And you know what I bet they are? All the same. The fucking same. Except you probably got some that they're all going to be pay-to-play bullshit.
Probably some microtransactions.
Yes, just like every other damn thing on that store.
I'm Googling right now. I'm Googling Pac-Man. Okay, so you have Pac-Man Museum Plus, which is, it looks to be, it's $1.99.
You gotta pay for a fucking Pac-Man game?
And this thing is,
I don't care. I'm done.
It is 1 gigabyte in size, but there's 13 games in it. Then you got,
they're all Pac-Man is my guess.
Oh yeah, 100% they're all Pac-Man. But then you got arcade game series with Miss Pac-Man, arcade game series Pac-Man, and then Pac-Man World Repack, which looks to be like the Pac-Man Adventures, because you actually have feet and arms and you can run around sort of open world-ish.
Okay, well,
so I'm curious. That game is $30.
You've lost your fucking
mind. And it came out
in 1982. You could have probably bought a cabinet for $30 of it.
That game came out 8/26/2022, and it's $30 for you to have a Pac-Man game that's a little bit unique. And I'm not gonna lie, the last Pac-Man on that string sort of looked like a cross between Pac-Man and Dr. Robotnik.
Well, I'll go ahead.
So I'm kind of intrigued.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you this: like, there's Pac-Man 99. I think that's on the Switch, and I love those 99 games. I can't stand to play it because it's still the same old Pac-Man that I played. Like, there's certain games that just bring you back, like some of the Mega Man stuff and all that.
Yeah.
I can't do it, man. I'm packed out. There is no Pack Attack.
I hate to say this because it's not its episode. I'll slap the
shit out of you.
It's not its episode. I went back and played Mega Man. It's still on my PlayStation.
Okay. So here's 2 things. I don't know. I'm saving one because I've got the work to show. I did the work behind it. So I'll answer the arguments, and you tell me I'm the fucking idiot. Okay, this is just me personally. One of the reasons I don't like playing this game is I feel like there's only one way to play a Pac-Man game. And it is in an arcade, but not even in a regular arcade cabinet. I remember the Pizza Hut having the one where two people played, where you could like eat your pizza on it, but then you had the roller ball.
Yeah.
And even though it was garbage, I've almost bought that just because that brings back memories. And sometimes they would even have like 2 or 3 games on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I feel like if I want to play a Pac-Man game, I want to play it. Now, my old ass probably couldn't get my knees down. Like, I feel like them things are down a lot lower than I could get down now.
They were made for children.
But yes, that is the only way I want to play a Pac-Man game. And let me just go ahead.
See, I played it on a stand-up.
Yeah. Air any more grievances you have before I get into my final one.
I'm going through my mind palace here to see.
Part of it's a little tough just because everything's already been said about a game like this. You know?
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of something new, create, or new-ish, but, I mean, the only thing is that if you played one Pac-Man game, Pac-Man arcade game, you have played every Pac-Man game. So like I said, the maps are a little. I'm not gonna call them maps. I'm gonna call them mazes. The mazes may have changed, but it's literally like it's the same fucking concept over and over and over again. And the points do matter. I will defend that.
That is one thing I will get behind you on. This is a game that I feel like wouldn't be as fun without points.
Points do matter, but overall, if you played one Pac-Man arcade game, you literally played them all.
Well, and you've segued me right into it, because I do know why you kind of got the name. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, it's the same fucking game. It's the same fucking game.
It is.
And people are going to say, no, it's not. No, there's so much differences. Yeah, there's a bow on his fucking head. That's what it is. Like, you shave his head. Okay, so let me tell you. You tell me, Josh. You tried to defend telling me Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man isn't the fucking same. And I'm going to tell you some of the differences. Because I'm like, what is the differences? This is the differences.
Pac-Man doesn't have a bow. Miss Pac-Man has a bow. Besides that, let's say this one has the speed boost.
Well, the original Miss Pac-Man didn't. But here's the difference from Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. This game did have the speed boost, but so this is just some of the bullet points that I found. And some of these are incredibly boring, so you may want to skip forward about 3 minutes. I'm going to power through them. The game has 4 mazes that appear in different color schemes and alternate after each of the game's intermissions are seen. The pink maze appears in level 1 and 2, the light blue maze in 3, 4, and 5, the brown maze in 6 to 9, the dark blue maze in 10 to 14. After level 14, the maze configuration alternates every 4th level. Who fucking cares? It's Pac-Man. It's Pac-Man. That's a level. It's a different level, okay? The first, second, and 4th mazes has 2 sets of warp tunnels opposed to only 1 in the original maze. It's fucking Pac-Man with a new stage. The walls have solid color rather than an outline, which makes it easier for a novice player to see where the paths around the mazes are. If you can't see where the fucking path is in Pac-Man, don't play Miss Pac-Man. Do yourself a favor and don't. Okay? So the ghost behavioral patterns, they have different patterns. Who fucking cares? That's AI. I mean, I ain't even going to get into that. Instead of appearing, oh god damn it, this pisses me off. Yeah, I'm an idiot. They're 2 different things. It's the same fucking game. Instead of appearing in the center of the maze, the fruit bounces around the maze, entering, and if not eaten, leaving through warp tunnels. Once all the fruit has been encountered, then their random sequence the rest of the game, starting on the 8th round. And a 5,000 point banana can be followed by a 100 point pair of cherries. Who fucking cares? If I told you that's how Pac-Man operated, would you tell me you knew any difference? Tell me how that makes Miss Pac-Man different than Pac-Man. It's just, who fucking cares? They did change one of the names of the ghost, which I will ask you in the
I will be pissed!
They changed one of the names of the ghost for Miss Pac-Man.
I know 3 ghost names, and that has been killing me because I've refused.
I know which one you've probably forgotten. It's the one that I know just because it's useless trivia. Before we get there, so this is what George Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. It's 2 different things. You uncultured swine. Because when Miss Pac-Man dies on contact with a ghost, she spins around, or as in the back of the flyer says, dramatically swoons and falls, rather than folding on herself like Pac-Man. Okay, you gave him a different damn dying animation. Same fucking game. They do have intermissions in there, and then I know it leads a segue to more games that are the same, with Baby Pac-Man and Junior Pac-Man, you know, whatever.
Again, still Pac-Man games.
The sound effects and music are all new. Hey, spoiler alert, they still fucking suck. So if you put a new soundtrack on a game, you release a new one, it's the same fucking game, bro. Same game. I don't give a shit. Like, I can understand. Like, hey, I ain't hating. I like Miss Pac-Man. I've played Miss Pac-Man more than I've played Pac-Man. I would rather play Miss Pac-Man. It's not just saying, oh, you're just a bro, you don't want like a chick Pac-Man. No, I love Miss Pac-Man compared to Pac-Man. I mean, don't get me started on just regular Pac-Man. I mean, I tip the hat of it pioneered a way. And Miss Pac-Man is the superior game, in my opinion, of the, like, whether it's just the arcade Pac-Man games.
Yeah.
But it's the same game, man. It is no need. You could have Pac-Man and call it Pac-Man 2. Or just, you know what, Miss Pac-Man was better. Just kick Pac-Man to the curb. Let him just be some window dressing in the story. Because Miss Pac-Man's keeping this family together, you know.
Let him die in the shade.
So, yeah. You've sold me a game 100 times under the name of Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. And they're all the fucking same. So it's like, give me original games. Give me your Pac-Man Adventures. Give me your Pac Attack. Yeah. Give me this stuff. But stop trying to tell me I'm getting a new game when I'm getting the same game. And that's what I hate about this fucking game. So, I mean, how can you defend just because you got different levels?
You can't.
Okay.
You can't. You really can't. I'm pissed that they renamed it Ghost, personally.
Well, I think it was only renamed for Miss Pac-Man.
I don't care.
So, don't you dang look to see what... No,
dude, I haven't...
Just close it down, because I have
refused to look this up, because I've been trying to think of all 4 ghost names for 3 goddamn days, and I have 3 ghosts, and I can't remember the last one.
Because it's going to be the weirdest one. Okay, we're going to jump in. We got fun facts. We're going to price charting, speed runs, rankings. We're going to hop into fun facts. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is the name. Multiple names was considered for the game, including Miss Pac-Man, M-I-S-S, and Mrs.
Yeah.
Pac-Man before it was being chose as Miss Pac-Man because it's easier to pronounce. Now, basically, to butcher a paragraph-long explanation of it, she wasn't going to be Miss Pac-Man at first. She had Pac-Man, and then it was going to be Crazy Otto, is what they were going to call her, which... Crazy Otto had legs and chased monsters, not ghosts around in Pac-Man levels. But apparently, Crazy Otto was an Atari. They were working on a game with Atari with Crazy Otto. And basically, a lawsuit was going to come in, so they were not going to allow them to call Crazy Otto.
Makes sense.
And it did look different. So then they ended up forming Ms. Pac-Man from that. I'm going to talk about, and there's probably more of this I can get into. I'm going to talk about the world record score and pack dots and stuff to eat. I'm going to go ahead and talk about that and save the ghost for you last. All right. The world record score is about 93,000 pack dots eaten, or 465 pairs. In August 2005, Queens, New York resident Abner Ashman took the high score title from Chris Area with 921,360 points. I don't think I had 10,000 points, maybe through 7 levels.
No.
The difference between the two scores, just 10,000 or 1,050 points, could almost be accounted for with eating of one additional apple worth 1,000 points each over the course of 130 stages. In 2006, Ashman beat his own score, amassing 933,580 points. My guess is they're playing a arcade game that plays endlessly, and it is just who can get the highest damn score.
Yeah,
One thing I am interested in is how long did it take him to do that in 2006 when he beat his own score, but that's some balling right there. That's some commitment, and I will tip the hat, and there's that. So,
that's some hours put in.
So, let's talk about the ghosts, Josh. I know which one, without even asking the ones you know. I can almost guarantee I can tell you which one that you're missing. But you tell me the 3 ghosts that you know.
I know Inky, Blinky, and Clyde.
It's Inky, Binky,
Binky,
Blinky, and Clyde. I'm surprised you knew Clyde.
I knew Clyde.
Because everybody misses Clyde.
No.
Clyde
so it's Inky, Binky, Blinky,
and Clyde.
See, okay. See, I knew it was Inky and Blinky and Clyde. I couldn't remember Binky.
So, if you had to pick a ghost that you like,
it's Clyde, and they probably renamed Clyde.
They renamed Clyde.
I figured. To what, Claudette?
No. I will say, now that I think of this, maybe it's not so bad, but it's Inky, Binky, Blinky, and Sue.
No.
But you know, Johnny Cash did sing A Boy Named Sue, and he's basically tough because he's got that name. So.
I hate Johnny Cash.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm not, we're from Tennessee, so I ain't going to say, well, I'm like the damn man in black and wear my cowboy hat pretending like some of these dudes do around here. But there are some good songs. Not quite my cup of tea, but I will sing a few songs when it is coming up and somebody's singing it at the bar or whatever. But that's besides the point. So Claude got changed for Sue in this game.
No.
I don't feel real great about that. Who don't like Claude? You know?
Yeah, he's the weird one.
So, I do have a few reviews I forgot about. I did not get into, like, there was some Pac-Man games and stuff like that, or Pac-Man, like a cartoon and such like that.
I do know there was a Pac-Man cartoon.
But there is a ton of speedruns.
Oh, yeah.
And so they basically, I'm going to hit the reviews before we do the speedruns, and we'll power through the speedruns, because there's a lot there. So basically just some of the reviews in general that this game got, and some of the other, I guess they kind of grouped the Pac-Man family together. 1996 Electronic Gaming Monthly reported that this version, which was very similar to the Super Nintendo version, but they reported the Genesis version of Mrs. Pac-Man was among the 20 best-selling Genesis games. The same year, Next Generation ranked the arcade version number 12 on their top 100 games of all time. Saying that it's aged far better than the original Pac-Man due to the smaller monsters, AI, varied mazes, moving fruits, and intermissions. They added it was the broadest appeal of any game that Next Generation has seen, with the possibly the exception of Tetris. Don't put this in the same. Like, I can understand they're both games that are very iconic, but you keep my Tetris out of your mouth, as Will Smith would say. It does say women love it, men love it, children love it. In 1997, Electronics Gaming Monthly listed the Genesis and the Super Nintendo versions as number 89 on their top 100 best games of all time. That is complete shit. In 1997, I think I come up with 100 better games than this.
Yeah.
But they were hanging their hat on the 2-player simultaneous play to revive the classic.
Again, we didn't do that.
In 1999, Next Generation listed Miss Pac-Man in general as their number 41 on their top 50 games of all time, commenting, "It sounds easier than it is, and it makes the game one we consistently go back to week after week." I would not agree with that, but I would not argue with you telling me Miss Pac-Man is a top 50 game of all time just because of its history. It's not for me, but I can understand why some people would say.
I can argue the top 50. I can see the top 75.
In 2009, Game Informer put Miss Pac-Man 10th on their list of top 200 games of all time, saying that it trumped the original Pac-Man, which I agree in nearly every way. This is down one rank from their previous list, but I do not agree that it is a... once again, I can kind of understand why you put it at number 10. For me personally, not a top 10 in 200 games, not a top 10 in 100 games. that Entertainment Weekly, that don't know shit about video games, also called Miss Pac-Man one of the top 10 games for the Atari 2600. And they said this in 2013. Atari 2600. Maybe it was a top 10 game.
I could see it on the Atari.
It's probably at least a top 25 for me. Because, I mean, some of them Atari games that I loved are really bad now. Miss Pac-Man plays 5th on Time's 50th best video games of all time. Now, at the same time, and part of this is probably, and it's part of Video Game Hall of Fame. I agree, 100% put it in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It has a spot there. It's just not a game for me. And it's not a game for me. It's like you're selling me the same game over and over and over and over. And that's what I don't like. I want some original shit.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Now, with all this being said, I feel like I'm completely just crapping on this game. And I've been sitting here and I said I've got an acrylic pen that's going up there on my shelf. Hey, you know what? I own multiple copies for the Nintendo itself, not counting the Atari. I bet you in my other room I probably got 6 copies of Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Am I ever going to play them again the rest of my life?
Probably
Hell
not.
no. Maybe Pac-Man Adventures, or Pac-Man World, or whatever it is. So, we're going to jump into some speed runs. So
we both just took a swig of beer because I'm not ready for this.
Okay, so there's 36 levels.
36 levels.
It starts with the first level starting and gobbling the last ball at the last level. Now that I know how to read what these speedruns are, it's way more entertaining. And, of course, as you would imagine, there's a lot of people, but it's surprising. Now, okay, you turn the game on, you hit start, whatever. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get arcade style on easy. To me, that's probably the way this game was meant to be played.
Yeah.
Now, they group the Super Nintendo and the Genesis people together. They don't have separate groupings on this.
Okay,
you probably don't need to.
Yeah. I'm about to say, they probably play the same.
And a lot of these do allow emulation, which is going to be easier. So that's why I'm saying we are a shoe-in if you want to do this.
No, we're not.
So the way I feel like you meant to play it is on single-player easy, because you hit start, that's just the default.
You go.
I eliminated the Sega Genesis guys because the number one guy was, or girl, was Super Nintendo emulation.
Okay.
The name is Demon Battler.
I like it.
Battler, so it's not Battler. I guess it is.
Yeah, it's Battler.
Okay. Well, my dumb ass sitting over here beating up on stupid-ass Pac-Man. I can't even read. 1 month ago, they set the...
Okay.
Would you guess how long it takes somebody to go through 36 levels?
36 levels.
I don't know if I could even give you a number. I feel like this is good. It could be horrible.
36 levels. Easy. I wonder if this is with the boost on or toggled.
It did state in there that it did include that you could use the pack boost.
Okay.
Whether it was intermittent or full on. I'm guessing you had to be full on.
Yeah, you had to, I would assume. Okay. I'd say probably 30 minutes.
Okay.
I want to give it like 45 seconds per level.
And I don't know, because I watched the intermissions. I don't know if you could hit start and power through them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I was just watching them. I'm enjoying it as it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and we got a lot, so we'll power through. He completed it. He is the number one person over the 2 Genesis players at 23 minutes, 56 seconds.
Okay.
I guess you got to be really fucking good. Okay, so... there was a lot of these modes. Just so you know, we had arcade mode, strange mode, big mode, mini mode, easy, normal, hard, crazy, single player, co-op. There's 100 different versions of this, and I don't want to overlook anybody because people put the work in. So in strange mode, playing on crazy, there was 2 years ago, Glitch Cat 7, playing it on the fastest mode in strange mode, single player, set a record of 28 minutes, 37 seconds. Now, Demon Battler, I think, set the quickest one at 23 minutes. So I guess I don't want to discount these glitch cats. I don't want to, pun intended, I don't want to discount these cats.
Yeah.
Because they did put the work in. I feel like they should be recognized. Easy. Let me see. Okay, playing easy single player on. I've cut it off. I think it's on the big mode. Starry Christus did 33 minutes 32 seconds. Demon Battler did 34 minutes 1 second. Jesse Lee did 35 minutes 45 seconds. Now the first and third is on Genesis. Demon Battler is also obviously a Super Nintendo emulator. Normal mode single player. Genesis is owned by Taco, TAC with a 0, not instead of an O. 26 minutes, 23 seconds. Vintage Classic Gamer on a Super Nintendo emulator 1 year ago did 28 minutes, 20 seconds. The mini mode single player, Demon Battler did it. Now, this was mini mode, so this was the quickest mode. Demon Battler did it 1 month ago in 20 minutes, 10 seconds. But that was with the smaller maps. There is a very, if any, co-op mode. We could literally play Pac-Man on like normal difficulty co-op, and if we complete it and turn it in, you are going to be the freaking #1 speedrunner. It don't matter if it's 3 hours. Like that one old dude that was like 4 hours later than everybody else. If you just, like, I'm telling you, this is going to be the easiest game to go beat.
We need to play this co-op mode. Couch co-op.
We could probably play it. I had to go back through this because I accidentally cut off one of the screens. I think you could probably play it co-op on easy and complete it and just about have a speed run.
Fuck.
And that's what I'm saying.
Let's do it.
Who would have ever thought a game that I really, I don't.
We'll throw the Willis Nest on a fucking speed run.
That to me was probably one of the most important, one of the most entertaining.
We
factors.
could do it.
Okay, so I don't want to let you commit. It's in the heat of the moment. The passions amongst you on Pac-Man right now, or Miss Pac-Man.
What we need to do is we need to attempt a 2-player co-op.
I've got 2 controllers. I just got to find the other controller in there, and it would be pretty funny for a couple of dumbasses like us that have shit all over Pac-Man this whole time
to own a speed run.
Yes. Okay.
Now here's the thing. If we'd done this, how long would we last before someone completely says, no, fuck off?
See, I think I'm going to be the guy to say, fuck it, I ain't playing. I just sit in the corner and I'll let you do it. And then it'll put Josh and George. Or I'll probably argue, be like, my name should go first because it's alphabetically. And, but like, I'm that guy that, like, when you put a puzzle together, I'll hide the last piece just so I can put it in. I'll be like, I got it, motherfucker. Like, I'm a poor sport. I'm sorry. I know it. I'm a very selfish person. But okay, price charting. What do you think a loose copy of this runs, Josh? There was a little more variance on average. Like, it was the variance between price charting and eBay was pretty much across the board. Like, the variance between loose to on each was about the same as the percentage as a complete on each. So I feel like even though I do price charting does have more tracking, I do trust eBay more on this one. But price charting eBay, Miss Pac-Man for Super Nintendo. What do you think this runs?
Now, this game has been ported over so much at this point in time. Like, even like 15 times.
I do not think people will freak out because they can't buy this game.
Yeah. I would say a comfortable $15.
Price charting has it at $9.03. And even though I did see a few that sold for $9 plus shipping and a couple that was very few outliers, on eBay I consistently see it sell for $14.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, $14 in my opinion is way too much for this game, but that is shipping included. That's going to cost you $4.50 to ship.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me you're paying less than $10,
that's reasonable.
If you've never played Pac-Man, you should. At least to say you did. But I can guarantee you could probably buy an Atari and the Atari cart for probably $10.
Yeah.
And you should probably play it that way. But
if you're a collector...
Now, the Tengen Pac-Man on regular Nintendo, I think I paid up. I do think I paid $10 for that one.
Yeah. So,
or $8 or something.
So, I mean, like I say, if you're a collector, then $15 total for shipping and handling... Yeah, bite the bullet. Go ahead and do it.
So, a complete copy. You got the manual, you got the box, you got the game, Josh. There's plenty of them out there, just so you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you tell me that this thing sells for more than $60, I'd be amazed.
It does not sell for more
than $60. So I'm going to go back down to where I should. I'm going to go for $35.
Okay. On eBay, I've seen them consistently between $30 and $35. on price starting and seen it at $23.13.
No.
Now,
see, normally my rule is to triple that.
Right.
So I doubled it with a little extra.
So in my opinion, $30 to $35. If you told me for $30 you bought this game, I wouldn't think you got ripped off, because you do have iconic, like Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. Their image itself, I think, is more valuable than the game. And it is a cool piece. Everybody resonates with it. I bet if somebody came by your game room, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, like, somebody's going to say, now, price charting had it at $23.13. I go ahead and tell you, if I could buy it for $24 shipped tomorrow, if you have a copy that you want to sell complete, not even got to be the best box, I will buy it for $24. I've got zero qualms. I don't think anything less than $25 on a Super Nintendo complete in box you can go wrong on. Now, go ahead.
Yeah.
I bought Roger Clemens for like $17, $18, $19.
You did. And that was my argument.
And I will say Pac-Man is better than... Miss Pac-Man is better than that. So, yes, I would spend $24 on it.
Yeah, and I was going to argue with that because you spent that with Roger Clemens, but you did get the poster, right? Or that was without the poster. That's right. That's why I picked on you so much about that.
So, thanks for bringing it back up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But with this game, like I say, completing box for that amount, again, if I was a collector, I would pay that.
I would pay that, but at the same time, if I was a seller, it's kind of hard to sell a game that's got that many copies out.
Yeah.
Like just in general. So, price charting and eBay are pretty close. A new copy with the cellophane wrapper across it. What would you pay, Joshua? This is where I draw the line of I would not pay this.
Yeah, that's what I was about. I mean, I'm not paying no more than $120 for this game.
To me, for this game, if you told me I have a new copy, you can't look nothing up right now, what would you give me for a brand new copy? In my opinion, the first offer I'd give you is $40, and I'd let you run me up to $50 before I'd say I'm done. And I wouldn't even feel good. Like, at $40, you said, no, I can get more. I'm not interested. But, okay, that's cool. Like, I'd literally almost be relieved. Price charting has a new copy at $108.51.
See, yeah, no.
Which is still not bad for a new game. It's just, it's not a game I enjoy like that. eBay, I've seen them between $110, $130.
Yeah, I mean, again, if I was a collector, I would pay the price charting price, but I know that it's all about the spur of the moment of trying to find it for that price. I would feel all right with price charting or eBay's prices, but at the same time, so I mean, all right, I've done multiple eBay auctions for comic books, and dude, once I know for a fact they get over a certain dollar amount, I'm like, no, it's already
you hit your limit. That's your drop dead price.
Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not going to touch that. So, like I said, that my drop dead price with this would be $120. Mm-hmm. So, if I could find this again, if I was a collector for $100, $110, I'm fine. But the moment that auction exceeds $120, I can do without.
Now, some of the games that I did see, there was a couple that sold that was graded that was like 7.5s and 8s. Nothing that was like crazy high grade. And they were selling for like $130, $40. And I'm like, for a graded copy on something that you probably spent $80 to get it graded. Okay, cool. So, all right, we're coming in a little bit over the hour. Let's jump into ranking.
This thing went a little longer than I expected.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say, for the hatred that I have for, like, this game, I did not like. Just because it's the same fucking game I've already played. It's not, I don't like the game in general. I don't like this game. And I do agree. If you have never played Pac-Man, play Miss Pac-Man. Yeah. And never think about Pac-Man. Pac-Man's a cool little meme. He's a cool thing in shows. But Miss Pac-Man, and I guess one of the things I did skip over on Fun Facts, is it was designed because they did come up with Miss Pac-Man because some of the arcade owners, they were noticing that there was just a few games that the girls had gravitated to. So this was it's something to get girls into gaming.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, I'm not shitting on it. It ain't like women, men, rights, nothing. It's just like, Miss Pac-Man is a better game.
It's just
Pac-Man in general, I do not like.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like. I've played more than my lifetime's worth of Pac-Man. I could never play Pac-Man again and feel like I never missed anything.
Yeah.
Now, if Pac-Man came out on the PS5 and it was at the junk store for $2, I'd probably buy it. To be quite honest, I'd probably never play it. To be quite honest,
that Pac-Man game.
I'm not spending anything on an iOS version of Pac-Man. Just so you know.
No, it wasn't iOS. It was on the PlayStation Store.
No,
and it was $30, and it came out last year.
It will be a cult if I can buy like 8 Mega Man games for freaking $10 to $20. I'm not spending $30 on Pac-Man shit.
And we did do that.
Now I will
twice.
say, Pac-Man World and some of that stuff on GameCube is probably a little pricey, and I still wouldn't spend it. I'd find it in the wild, but whatever. It's not here or there. Ranking it, Josh. We have the same top 4 games, even though we have different tasting games. And I swear the first 20 episodes was probably far different than our next 15 here.
Yeah.
We've got the same ranking, and I've already put mine in here.
Okay.
We got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers so far this season at number 1. Pieces at number 2. Mario is Missing at number 3. Foreman for Real at number 4. Do you want me to go ahead and tell you where I think Miss Pac-Man falls for me, or do you want to stand up on this?
I will not. I'm going to let you go first, but let me jot mine down real quick.
Okay.
About to say, I want to use a piece of paper that you do not need for yourself.
I don't need any of these papers here. So just to recount your top 4 is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Pieces, Mario Missing, and Foreman for Real. I shit on this game like crazy because it's the same game I've always played. And I'm repeating this over and over, but hey, you know what's repeated more? This fucking game. Pac-Man is okay to me at most. Once again, I've played my lifetime's worth. I do agree it's in the Hall of Fame. It should be up there as if you've never played it, you should play it just to say you did. I feel like if I never played it and I played it this one time, I got the whole gist of almost every Pac-Man game and the maze style game there is. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is miles ahead of this game on the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
Pieces is miles ahead. Where I come into it is Foreman for Real. I'm not going to say that I did it dirty and Miss Pac-Man is worse than that. That is absolutely incorrect. Foreman for Real was pretty fucking rough.
It was
more comically bad than anything. Mario's Missing is where I'm torn on, because I think Mario Missing is better than what people says it is. Now I get why people hate it, and if I had to play through that game again, it would be far worse. But for a game I never played, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. That being said, Mario's Missing is better than Miss Pac-Man.
Really?
So I've got Miss Pac-Man at number 4 of 5. The Pac-Man franchise as a whole, if I had to grade it, I would put it way ahead of a lot of things. Not Mario or anything else, but for me, I've got Miss Pac-Man at number 4.
I wonder if I can sway you.
Well, maybe you can.
Because I got Miss Pac-Man, at number 3.
Why is it better than Mario's Missing? Let me ask you that.
Because I think Mario's Missing has a good concept for a game that, again, like you said, I never played except for on this podcast. Mario Missing is too long. Like, if I actually completed that game and had to go through, what was it, like 15 worlds, 47 different levels, whatever it is. You mean to tell me that I have to answer all those tests, those trivias, every single time? No. Like, that game just became way too long. It became unbearable at that moment.
You know what would be unbearable for me is playing the millionth level of Pac-Man that I've ever played in my life.
See, and that's the thing. I get that. But the way I'm looking at it is to completion. I would rather complete Miss Pac-Man 3 times versus Mario's Missing twice.
The only reason I want to complete Miss Pac-Man is if we do a speed run on it. That's the only reason, just because of how stupid we are and how bad this would be. No, this is why Mario's Missing is an original game, even though it may not be exactly good. I at least got a game, even if it shocked me and I'm like, I don't like this game. They stepped outside of the box, and I will tip my hat because of that.
I agree with that, and I agree with the fact that it was one of the 8 educational Mario games or some shit like that.
I think in the ultimate ranking of 700 games, roughly, Pac-Man is not going to be in my top 100. I'd look IGN. It is not in their top 100.
No, it won't be in mine either.
I have a little bias against it just because I've played it so much growing up.
Yeah,
and it's just the same every time I play it. I feel like I would put Pac-Man. I would probably disrespect any Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man game. And I'd put Miss Pac-Man probably, if I had to guess. I'm shocked at how bad some of the games are that we played, but I could see it being like number 350 out of 700. I could see me putting it right in the middle because it's just middle of the road for me. Middle of the road at best. Like, I have to be in the mood to want to play Pac-Man.
I mean, I can't defend it. I can't. Because, like I said, my whole aspect is, the way I look at it, is replayability. I would rather replay Miss Pac-Man versus Mario is Missing.
And, maybe some of this is us. Maybe if we were sitting there texting each other, calling each other, ball gobblers. Because
ball munchers.
Ball munchers, because we had higher scores than each other. Maybe it would have been a little more fun for me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And we didn't, and it wasn't.
No. And that's one of the things that we try to do in this podcast, too. I don't know if these people know this or not. We don't communicate whatsoever about these games that we play.
It was so hard for me not to text you and say, hey, I fucking hate Pac-Man.
Yeah.
But I have respect for Pac-Man. There's a difference. I have a respect.
Now, hang on. We did do that on one game, and that was Untouchables. Because me and you were both like, dude, this game's a piece of shit.
Untouchables was unbelievable.
That was literally all we said to each other. It's like, this game is a piece of shit.
A normal text that's in between episodes is like, hey, are we recording today? Or have you got enough time to play? Or
we're trash talking each other in fantasy football. Listen, I don't want these people to think that we don't communicate, but we do. We talk, but over the podcast, it's literally like, hey, you good to record today? Do we need to push it off?
And people will ask that, like, in personal life, they'll say, hey, what game did you draw this week? Because I do know a lot of people that love Super Nintendo. And I think one of the quotes this week I said, hey, I got Miss Pac-Man. Now, with me shitting on Pac-Man, when we got Miss Pac-Man, I'm like, hey, this is going to be better than a lot of the games we draw. Like, there's a familiarity that they did give you.
Yeah.
And the exact quote that I got that they said was, oh, well, that's cool. Probably not much to it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And it's not that this game is good. It's not that it's bad. It's just the same. And Pac-Man is a pretty simple Atari game, a pretty simple arcade game. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think the simplicity is why people love it. It's just the same thing.
Just
because you had 36 levels don't mean give me a new game.
It's wash and repeat Pac-Man. Like I said, it literally is.
At the same time, I will say, and I probably should put it in the make it, is I bet that this damn game, I don't know that you can play through 36 levels without getting killed once. Like, even if you're a professional,
I don't think so.
Those damn ghosts, you work yourself. I mean, there's a lot of thinking on the spot.
Yeah.
And
if I'm not mistaken, the way the ghost AI work, I think the reason why they're named the way they are is Inky, Binky, and Blinky all govern an X amount, a ratio, a range of the map. And I think Clyde or Sue chases you.
That's probably my biggest beef with this game is changing Clyde's name to Sue.
Yeah.
Clyde's Clyde. Tell me that Clyde is one of the... I don't care how Clyde orientates. Like, be proud in Miss Pac-Man or in Pac-Man.
Yeah.
But
Clyde's the GOAT.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I've got this on my mind, and I'm calling our next game, Josh.
Oh, shit.
We've laid this to rest. I ran across 3 Super Nintendo games today.
Oh, on your adventures?
Yes, and they spoke to me, and one of them did more than others. One of them was Super Mario World. I'm not picking it.
No.
I'm trying to think what one was. It was kind of a goofy... It was Flintstones.
Okay.
I'm not picking it. They were a little pricey on it, so I left it behind. But it was a good-looking cart, and I just couldn't bring myself to pay it. I think they were right on market value. I'm calling the next episode the cartridge that I've been thinking about today of Earthworm Jim.
No.
Yes.
There's no way we're getting
It is going to be Earthworm Jim.
There's no way we're getting Earthworm Jim.
They had it at $29, and I was wanting it, and I'm like, that is the market price, and I can't, as a person, bring myself to pay market price because I'm a cheap SOB. And I've had Earthworm Jim on my mind, and I will freaking lose my shit in this room if we pull it. What do you got in your mind?
I think we're going to go with another Bandai Namco game.
Okay. Bandai Namco, you're saying that's the path we've chosen, or the path that's been chosen for us. Okay, well, respectable. I guess we're going to come back halfway through season 3. That's what blows my mind.
Dude, we churning through these.
I'll tell you one thing that's going to burn me up a little bit is trying to figure out where to rank these on the other 30 games. Like, I know where Miss Pac-Man is on this season. I don't know where they are when we dump them into the wad of games that we have. That is going to be a gut check for me there.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the toughest ranking after 10 episodes.
I think I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to a couple to see to where I'm at.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up.
By the way, Doug, Double Amped, if you're listening, love you.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to be playing Earthworm Jim. I feel it tomorrow.
I think we're going Bandai Namco.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.